You know who I realized actually recently that you're like is because I was watching. You know who you are on The Sopranos?
Ralphie?
Yeah, you're Ralphie. How'd you
He's
know?
my favorite character. He's my favorite character, and I love him.
Joey Pants.
I love Ralphie on that show.
Yeah, oh, man, he's so funny. Yeah, such a good character.
And the thing I relate to him is that like he's a piece of shit, but he's
Yeah,
also but he's a good earner. So they're like, well,
yeah, but he's also
he's
like a
good
smart
at
ass.
yeah, he's a smart ass, he's evil, he's mean, he's a bully, he's two-faced,
He's wearing a wig.
he's
That's
hilarious. You know what character on
Be
The
funny,
Sopranos you're like?
Tony Soprano.
You're like Beansy.
The guy. The guy.
You're just like a pathetic victim. Like you're just like a person
No, I'm not.
who
I'm doing okay. I feel like
you're gonna end up in crutches, you know.
Richie April's gonna run me over with his car.
Yeah, you're just gonna all your bones are gonna end up broken. And then people
too
will be like,
tall.
hey, whatever
I'm
whatever
tall.
happened to that guy? He just I don't know, he moved to Florida and no one ever heard of him ever again.
It's a little makes me a little sad because that could be something that actually happens. It'll just make it weird now that this podcast exists. You know? Damn, dude.
It
I'm
just
not
I mean,
Beansy.
look,
I'm Tony Soprano.
how?
I'm a big boy.
You know, maybe you are Tony Soprano. You really are just a whiny person.
Why? I haven't whined at all. I feel like I'm.
What's all that noise over there?
Sorry, recycling. Do you care about that recycling?
You're just doing chores?
Yeah. Whitney makes me do chores while we do this.
Yeah, so Adam's doing this really stupid thing where he refuses to review his movies on Letterboxd, and he makes it into a big surprise for the show.
No, it's not a surprise. No, I'm not doing it for that reason. I'm holding them. I thought you're supposed to like. Doesn't it make sense to not post the review until you can like include a link to the episode and mention that you do a podcast episode about it? Is that crazy, or is it just me?
We have 2 listeners, and one of them's in jail.
I mean, that's gotta start somewhere, right?
So what would you give this movie, Adam? I gave it 5 stars. It's one of my favorite Cronenberg movies.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a really funny, amazing movie. It's like an erotic thriller, but it's like the script is so good. I mean, I would give it 5 stars too. I was like kind of wondering if I should give it 4.5 because I was like it's kind of silly, but then I was like, for its time, I feel like it. The whole thing about the cars and just like the '90s and like everything in this movie is cars. And so it just feels like very of its time. And yeah, it's just like such a perfect movie that it's like, it's just exactly what that movie should be. Every scene is really good. And like the story is really like simple, but well told and stuff. I liked it. I liked your pick. Does that make you happy?
Wow.
That's my opinion. Thanks for listening.
I'm so glad we waited to hear that.
Yeah.
A real summation by Adam.
Yeah, I feel like I covered a lot.
Okay, so I love this movie. When this movie came out, I like in the 90s when I was like a teenager, anytime like an NC-17 rated movie came out, like an indie movie, I was like always very excited to see it. Especially when I was like 15 and 16 when I couldn't see them in the theater. So this movie, Requiem for a Dream, Kids, I wanted to see those movies so badly. And I always had to wait to see them on video.
Are those 1996 movies too?
They're like mid-90s movies.
Yeah.
And then like, I remember even one time, I even went to a theater in Berkeley when Requiem for a Dream came out and tried to buy a ticket and they asked for my ID. And I was 17 and I was hoping they would let me in. They wouldn't. And I was just like so pissed.
Damn, that sucks. Yeah, it's like, just be cool,
Yeah, and it sucks because this movie would have been awesome to see in the movie theater because I was watching it last night there's like a new 4K Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just such a gorgeous looking movie.
Yeah.
And when I first saw it, it was on the Independent Film Channel. And back when it was, back when IFC actually showed independent films. And I recorded it off TV and I would just watch the VHS all the time. And it looked pretty good.
Sure.
But this movie, the thing I really noticed about it this time was how patient it is and
Yeah.
how cool it is in that it just like lingers on these people.
Uh-huh.
And so much of it is unsaid what they're going through.
Yeah. It's a lot of James scenes where James Spader doesn't say anything and he's just like watching this weird like fetish culture.
What other Cronenberg movies have you seen?
I've seen The Brood, The Fly, of course. Existenz.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I've seen his movies.
I did.
I get
I
his
was.
thing.
Existenz was the first one I saw in the theater. So you never saw Videodrome?
I no, I think I have. I think I've seen Scanners too.
So the thing I realized, the thing I realized about this movie is that this movie, almost every David Cronenberg horror movie, is exactly the same,
Yeah,
and they could all be. They're essentially all about the same behavior, but they
Like-
just sort of change the adjectives. They just change the. It's like a Mad Libs, the way he writes.
like you talking about like the fetishization of like the machine, or like something like that, like with flesh
No,
and machine.
no.
Flesh and machine.
Well, yeah, I mean that's always thematically there, but really
Yeah.
what it is that his movies are about people who come in contact with something, they are altered, and they are not victims, but then their behavior changes, and then they spread that behavior. And the only one that really doesn't fit is The Fly, but every one of his movies ends with more people infected by the behavior, and there's this element of the behavior is going to continue on.
Right, right.
So you haven't seen them, but if you've seen Rabid, Shivers, Videodrome,
Yeah,
Existenz definitely ends that way.
it's like he's making the same story in different,
Yes,
yeah, things.
he essentially has a genre onto himself.
Yeah, he found like his own specific story type, or like arc, or what is that called?
Yeah, he has his own essentially there's a
Arc
genre and formula to
plot?
himself.
Arc plot? Is that what it's called? Like a story that's like, yeah, like a fate, like story structure that is unique to its.
Creator.
Yeah,
Basically, I mean, all of his he never in the movies, there's like a genie that gets taken out the bottle, and it's never put back in, except for The Fly. That's the only one with an actual ending, and it kind of makes sense. He's
Right.
at the end of The Fly, Jeff Goldblum's defeated.
yeah.
Of course, there's The Fly too. She has a kid, but
Is that
that's not
maybe
really-
is the fly like? And
well, he didn't.
it
It's like it was a job for hire.
oh, gotcha. Okay, well that makes sense.
But yeah, even Dead Ringers.
That's such a good move for a director, is to like figure out what your thing is, and then that's how you can like do a high volume of output. It's like instead of trying to figure out a new story every time, because that does take a long time, I feel like.
And also your audience knows what they're in for, and
Yeah.
they're satisfied.
Totally. Well, it's like, yeah, I mean, also it's a good for your like, I mean, this movie is, this is probably my favorite David Cronenberg movie that I've seen, because it just feels like, everything that I've seen in his other movies, like him like executing it like just perfectly, and knowing exactly what his like weird, I don't know. I mean, like,
Well,
I really felt
that's
it.
what's really interesting is that while he has this formula, normally in like Shivers or Rabid, it's just like these zombie-fied people are like spreading, and it's and you're watching a horror movie. This movie, you don't know you're watching a horror movie. This is like an art house kind of exploitation movie. And I think the thing that really pissed people off when it came out, because it was like extremely controversial, was that it was viewed as an erotic movie.
Yeah, it's like a softcore porn, basically.
right. And that kind of movie, like Ted Turner, his company, Turner owns Warner Brothers, which owned New Line Cinema, which owned Fine Line Cinema, who released the movie. That was like their Miramax sub brand. And when Ted Turner found out about the movie, he just like put his foot down and was like, I'm not releasing this.
This is smut.
And
This is
like,
kinky stuff. He's like, this is too kinky to release. I can't do it.
I know, it's so stupid. And it's like, it barely got released in the theaters.
Maybe that means
barely,
that's Ted Turner's kink. You know what I mean? Like, methinks thou doth protest too much, sort of thing.
I mean, he probably didn't even watch the movie. Maybe he did. I don't know. Maybe he
Maybe
watched
like
parts.
he got a boner and then he's like, what the fuck? Why is this happening? Why is this happening to my body?
A change has occurred to me.
Yeah.
This has never happened in my entire life.
Yeah.
Maybe he watched
That
it
could
and he
be
was
a
just
rich-
like,
That
what if he was just rubbing his dick the whole time and it just wasn't getting hard? He's just like, I'm not releasing this.
Yeah.
I can't
This
even
is
jerk off.
garbage.
He's like the Colonel in Boogie Nights. He's just like, I can't release this. This is fucking,
Yeah, totally.
this cock's too small. I'm not even seeing anybody's cock.
Dude, what if like a very powerful distributor or whatever would like that becomes like a rich man's kink, is like releasing like really like erotic thrillers into like the family marketplace, and that's how he fucking Ted Turner comes.
I mean, that would be so twisted. That would be just, I mean, like, are you talking about Tyler Durden splicing in a little bit of pornography into family-friendly films?
Basically, yeah. Basically.
So one
the
thing I
legit
realized watching this last night is how similar it is to Fight Club.
Yeah, it is. That's a good double feature for sure.
Because James Spader is definitely like a middle manager. Or he's not a middle manager. He's like a TV producer, but he's like a normie, like Edward Norton.
Yeah, for sure.
Vaughn, played by Elias Koteas, is definitely like a Tyler Durden type.
Wait, no, I thought James Spader, isn't he like a director? Is it? But like, were they directing porn?
They're directing car commercials.
Oh, why was the first scene his girlfriend getting her ass eaten by that guy?
Him and his girlfriend are swingers.
Oh, I see. And then
and
they
they
talk
have-
about it later. Is that?
Yeah,
that's like the
they
later scene?
they
Okay.
so like that's one thing that really
Got it.
makes the movie good is that him and his girlfriend are already like into sex swinging.
Yeah,
so,
it gets us like from over the first little stuff that we don't need to see. Like the
yeah, they're
boring
not like horror. They're never victims of this. They're never like taken in by this behavior.
Of course, yeah, they're into it. That's just like kind of an extreme for them, But that's a good tactic for a movie, I feel like, to like start on the more extreme side with your character so you can show some really wild shit.
Yeah, and also it sets up the fact that you're going to see sex scenes over and over again. And also,
Like every scene. Like over and over.
well, the other thing is their sex, if you pay attention to all the physical sex they're having, there are payoffs and arcs to the sexual acts they perform.
Yeah, I think I get what you're saying. Like,
Because in the first scene, it starts off with like, I mean, everything's very thematic and like on point. So you got the airplanes in that hangar, machinery. You have Deborah Kara Unger having sex with like her flying instructor because she says she's taking flying lessons.
oh, I see. Okay.
So then you have the next scene. I mean, I've seen this movie like 20 times. So
Yeah, this is helpful. Thank you.
So then the next scene, you got James Spader. He's in like the studio on production, and he's eating the ass of like an Asian gaffer or grip.
Right. Oh, is that the lady who's in like the torn up jeans later and you see her butt cheeks?
Yes.
Gotcha. That's good. That's like really good storytelling for like an odd detail. It's like seeing it's like this Asian woman's ass makes kind of mirror appearances at the beginning and the end of the movie.
When he sees it again the second time, he's no longer interested because by then he's into cars.
Yeah, this movie's like basically the story of a guy developing a kink and it becoming like too much, and then he becomes like or like he needs it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's not that it ever becomes too much. It's just that he comes in contact with the kink, and then he watches other people destroy themselves and die through it, and he just keeps. Not only does he keep going, he brings his girlfriend into it or his
Yeah,
wife
yeah.
into it,
Oh, why? Yeah.
and yeah, they're like,
I didn't see that ring.
yeah, the ring is featured in there. The ring is featured pretty prominently in the first scene where they're together.
Oh, okay. Look, it's not like some guy's weird eye that I'll be able to notice immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, you have to pay attention. That's the thing. Like this movie, I watched the movie Vigilante right before this Bill Lustig movie
Okay.
from like
Yeah, it
80.
looks cool. The poster looks cool.
But like, you know, he makes like fun exploitation movies, but
Yeah.
his directing is just so sloppy. And it was so nice after watching like so many sloppy movies to just watch like
Something that's really good. Yeah.
Crash, and every shot is like so carefully composed. There's so much visual information. There's so much like storytelling information in every shot.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
But they're talking about things like, oh, he eats this woman's ass this way, and then later on, when he eats out Rosanna Arquette's scar,
oh,
he
yeah.
does it the same way he ate her ass out, and then it cuts, and then he's no longer interested in that Asian girl's ass anymore. And then,
Yeah.
and they even double down on it by putting her in cutoffs, so they have like the scars, like the torn up
Oh,
clothing.
damn. Very good, William. Very good. I'm very impressed with your observation, and I'm proud to call you my friend.
Well, I mean, I watched the movie yesterday, so.
No. That's a good one.
But yeah.
Dude, yeah, own it. Feel good.
I mean, I look forward to your observations of Rumble in the Bronx and what you can bring.
Yeah. Oh, so is this your birthday movie? Is that what you're saying?
This is my birthday movie. This comes
Nice
this
pick, birthday boy. Happy birthday.
this is the week of my birthday.
Good job. dude.
I wanted to pick a movie I
Figuring
knew
that
a
out.
lot about because, you know,
Yeah, totally. No, I'm.
Sallow's.
That's dude. Really, congratulations on that observation. Again, just
I mean, it's so basic.
it
Adam.
was so no. That's good because you're looking at that. You're like, why is it? Why are the jeans torn? If you were like me, you'd be like, oh, he just wants us to like see her ass because there was like she had her ass eaten earlier, and he's like, check out this chick's ass again.
You're just like, you mean they like getting in car crashes? I thought they were just horny and they didn't know how to drive.
Yeah, I was like, these are the worst drivers I've ever seen.
But yeah, so James Spader, he's got his wife. They have sex with other people. They talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very open marriage.
Yes.
They seem very rich, affluent. They have no real issues. And then
Sure,
one night, he's working late on a commercial, and he's like reading the storyboards while driving.
I would say that
And-
this couple kind of lives a hedonistic existence.
You could say that.
Okay. Sorry, continue.
So then he gets in a car accident.
Yeah.
He
Which is
drives
his
up
fault.
I mean,
important
he's
detail.
literally reading storyboards
Yeah.
while driving, and then a guy just like cuts him off and is honking, and he's like, "Whoa, whoa!" And then it's raining, and he slides into oncoming traffic, and has a head-on collision with another vehicle, and the driver of that vehicle, a man, flies through the windshield into his car, and on his hand you'll see the decal of the hood ornament.
Oh, that okay.
It's like-
I didn't pick
it's-
up on that. I got it. Now.
It's like burned into that guy's hand, and then James
Wow.
Spader's like bleeding, and he's like dazed, and he looks across and he sees Holly Hunter, and she's in the passenger seat of the other car, and then she's like, they make eye contact, and she's like struggling to take off her seatbelt, and then as she pulls off her seatbelt, she opens up her shirt at the same
Yes.
time.
Quite a nice little, quite a
Nipple.
nice little turn of events for James and the audience too.
You know, there's always a silver lining.
Yeah, of course.
You murder a
course.
man. You
got to see some titty.
you get all banged up. You break
Things
your
even
leg.
out. Things even out.
An extremely hedonistic sexual deviant who has sex with multiple people a week is like, oh, a little booby.
That always helps to ease the blow of, a tough thing.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, that is one thing though. Like he has sex so often, seeing a woman's nipple
You're just like,
really
yeah,
it
whatever.
should not be that exciting. Like it should have been the guy went through the windshield and then just like landed right on his dick,
And just
and
started
he's just
sucking
like,
it.
yeah, he's just is sucking, and he just gets
Yeah.
this, and he's just staring at the wife, and he's just getting like, he's just like blasting cum into her dead husband's mouth
Yeah,
as
because
he's just gurgling.
he comes really fast because like the velocity that the guy was traveling, when he starts sucking his dick was so strong that it's like the first pump was like 50 pumps.
Yeah, and it has to go through denim because he's
Yeah,
always wearing like Jerry Seinfeld denim.
of course. Jerry Seinfeld was the king of 90s fashion, I feel like.
Every What is it with the '90s and just guys wearing jeans and sports coats?
Yeah, what's the deal? There's a hawk outside my window.
Okay, somebody is having trouble focusing.
No, 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 no. So
But
yeah,
anyway,
actually, well, about that car crash scene, that scene was like amazing. I thought.
it's definitely the best car crash in the movie, and that's one thing
Yeah.
I noticed watching it last night is like a lot of the car crashes are kind of shitty in this movie.
Well, oh, interesting.
We're kind of spoiled, with like
Maybe it was a
big
budget thing.
budget action
Yeah.
movies. Yeah, it's not. I think it's a budget, time, and safety issue. They just could not afford other car crashes that awesome.
Yeah, it makes sense that would be the one, I guess. I really like how that car like I don't know. You don't. I think something that really good movies do a lot is they let a moment play out and let you like experience what that moment would be like, even those like the weird like quietness of the after the accident, like, and it kind of just lets you like be in that headspace for a second. And this movie does that. Like, it's like a really intense experience of a car crash that feels real, and that it's like true to how it would play out like in real time. Really puts you
Yeah,
there.
by doing that, by keeping things so grounded, and he gives everything like a layer of surrealism
Yeah,
because
totally.
the concept of this movie is completely absurd. There's
Sure.
no fetish. This is not a fetish. This is no one could even
This
no
is
one would ever fall for this fetish. He's not trying to make it seem like a real fetish. What he's doing is he's shooting everything in a cinematic way that makes it interesting.
Well, how so?
Well, because it ultimately all comes down to chemistry between the characters in the scene. And by having him and Holly Hunter make eye contact with their meet cute of this like
Yeah.
violent car accident where her husband's murdered or dies accidentally.
Yeah. More like a meat nasty.
Yeah,
You
like
know what I'm saying?
he makes it he makes it so very clear within just when you see them with their unbroken eye contact afterwards and like her breasts revealed, within like 15 minutes they're going to be fucking.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not even and you're glad to see it happen. You're not like, "Oh, this is predictable. I don't want to see them have sex. I want
Yeah.
to see
The movie's builds to that act really well, I think. That first act of the first time they have sex.
well, yeah, because they at
Built
first
too well.
the next thing that happens is they're in the hospital and James Spader, his leg is like bandaged. He has like a metal brace, and
Yeah. He's really
he has
banged up.
yeah, and his girlfriend's there, and
And
she
she's
tries to
talking to
give
him
him
about the guy. Oh, right, yeah. She tried. I was gonna say
she tries
every-
to give him a hand job.
Yeah, this
He's
plot
like,
is
"I don't
told
like-"
through sex scenes. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, and he doesn't want the hand job.
Yeah,
He turns it. He's like, I don't want that because he's no longer attracted to his girlfriend anymore.
yeah. She's not. She's when you. This movie is kind of. Actually, I think it's saying that like having a kink is bad.
I don't think it's saying that at all.
I think it's saying like, well, it's destructive, and it's kind of like an addiction. It just gets kind of worse and worse the more you indulge the deviancy.
Okay, so
This movie's saying that everybody
it's
should be
not
having
saying that
missionary
though.
sex.
Okay.
Just missionary sex.
See, the thing is, the movie's saying the exact opposite, and that's why it's good. It's never, when people are hurt, when people die, when they lose friends through who are having accidents and dying,
Yeah.
as they get brought more and more into the subculture, they are
Oh, I
not
thought you were talking
sad.
about life.
They are not worried. They don't regret their behavior. They don't question their behavior. They just continue on their behavior because ultimately they're all going to die in a car accident eventually.
I mean, they live in a world that is entirely about cars, and
There's
entirely
no,
like surrounded by cars.
so the movie has no judgment on their behavior. You're just witnessing their behavior.
I'm pretty sure that it's saying that
No, you're
he's
saying
just
that.
having vanilla, boring, you know, white
Gay
person
sex.
sex. Yeah. The missionary position only is what the movie is saying. Anything else is a sin.
What? How does the movie say that?
Well, I mean, just by the fact that it's kind of like a downward trajectory. It's like a descent for James Spader, and he doesn't go get out of it or anything like that. I don't know. I feel like that's inherently. I'm not saying the movie is saying like. I mean, I'm just kidding. Also,
Yeah, I know. You could have done more of. You could have done a bit and made a
oh
joke.
shit! Right.
But you try to. You just struggled and just hit the ejector seat. You're just like, I'm joking. I'm joking. I won't do a bit.
Look, I just think that,
Do you think people want to hear your smart takes at them?
of course,
They don't.
I matter. I'm a person.
Okay. No one
I'm just
wants to
kidding.
hear your opinion
Got it.
because it's not interesting. No one wants to hear my opinion. It's not interesting.
No, you said that good thing earlier about the jeans.
That wasn't interesting. No, the only interesting thing I
That
said
was incredibly interesting.
was when the husband face fucked when he face fucked the dead body. That was the only thing that's been interesting so far.
Yeah, that was interesting.
You're just you're like I'm doing the show. I'm the prodigy. You're the guy in the prodigy that just dances on stage.
You're
Or
the bald
I'm
guy.
the Money Money Boss Tones.
Okay, I'm the guy that you're the entire.
You're the guy that
band of
dances.
Money Pasta.
I'm all 8 of them.
Oh shit,
The horns, the singer, the drums.
that's like the whole band.
I'm the microphone. Can you imagine if you were in this subculture? Like you started going to underground car crash events and you're just like, whoa, I'm going to call 911. I'm going to call the cops. They're getting in car
I would
accidents.
not do that. I would not do that.
Did you see that? He just hit that guy.
I forgot that it was a show.
Yeah, you just be.
That's what I do, I guess. So, but yeah, so James Spader, he's at the hospital. He doesn't want a hand job. He's tired of that. He's over hand jobs.
He's over his girlfriend who is incredibly horny and just wants to have sex all the time.
I thought the movie was saying that he just didn't like hand jobs anymore.
The truth is, no one likes hand jobs.
I mean, if the hand was really soft and had like some nice oil or something, I mean, it's better than nothing, I guess. I'm not gonna say that I dislike it.
Nobody likes hand jobs, and nobody likes hand jobs from their fucking wife. That's for sure.
Are you like doing a Louis C.K. bit right now? I feel like that's an old Louis C.K. bit.
I think James Spader should have done stand up in this movie.
Yeah,
He's already
for it.
dressed like a stand up
Yeah.
comedian. He just needs a brick wall.
Totally.
So anyway, James Spader is in the hospital. He's like
Yeah.
seeing Holly Hunter all the time. They're always looking at each other, and it's very tense. You don't know, like he obviously feels ashamed and guilty because he killed her husband,
Yes.
but you know,
She don't seem that mad. You know what I'm saying?
once they get out of the hospital, he goes to see his car, like the wreck that's left of his car in this
Yeah.
like under this like facility under a freeway, and then he sees Holly Hunter there dressed all in white, like the woman in Vertigo or something.
Yeah.
The thing that's really interesting about casting Holly Hunter is that she's not someone you would say is like a very sexual
Yeah.
person. You don't think of her as like, oh yeah, Holly Hunter, she's hot, right?
Well, that's
But
kind of
when
what
she
his
get-
girlfriend or his wife rather is Like sultry. She's a sultry actor.
Yeah, and the thing that makes Holly Hunter interesting is that she's like a good actress. And
Yeah,
that's why
totally.
it's like that's why it's really good casting. I mean, she's a really good actress, so just having an actress playing a supporting character like this really
Mm.
elevates the material, and she doesn't really have to, her character is not written with a lot of depth, but she feels real in all the moments. And the big scene
Sure.
between the two of them is James Spader sees her in this like car lot with all these broken cars, and he takes her. He's like, "Do you need a ride to the airport, or I can give
Hmm.
you a ride?"
Yeah.
And then so they're in a car, they're riding together, and there's like all the sexual tension, like they're adjusting the seat belts, and they're like sweating, and they're like grabbing their collars, and they're just like, "Ooh."
James Spader's thinking about when he saw her boob getting sweaty.
I mean, it's pretty funny, Adam. You're doing a good job.
Thanks, man.
Everybody at home is enjoying this.
Okay.
So,
I'm trying to dance good for the other boss tones.
so, man, they must
That's
have
a
just wanted to like kick that guy right off the fucking stage so many times.
He must be like very charismatic if he's gotten himself this gig and they didn't start like slowly resenting him over the years. He's like, this guy's just fucking dancing. Like, I'm playing the trombone.
So yeah, the sexual tension gets too much for them to take, and they have to fuck in the airport parking lot in his car.
Yeah.
And
They pull over.
he just
Well, no, because they almost get in a wreck.
oh yes,
That's
they almost get in a wreck.
and then
That's the
they're just are
catalyst.
immediately like, we gotta fuck.
Yeah, they almost get in a wreck in the exact same spot where the wreck occurred. He's on the same stretch of freeway,
Damn.
and they go back to
That's
that area
poetic.
a lot.
Yeah.
So
This
then,
is how roads work.
yeah, he's like, "Want to go to the airport?" He's always going to the airport. You
Yeah.
know,
He just likes hanging
that's
out there.
that's where people got to go.
Yeah. He just thinks planes are cool.
That's obviously where the movie production office is, and they're right
Nice.
next to the Toronto airport and the freeway there, and they're constantly shooting
Toronto? What are you talking about?
in the same 4 or 5 blocks.
Is this shot in Toronto?
Yeah, this movie takes. This is a. Not only is it shot in Toronto, it takes place in Toronto.
Okay.
These are Canadians.
So Johnny Mnemonic took place in Toronto. Rumble in the or
Oh, it
it
took
was shot
place in Newark.
Johnny Mnemonic was shot in Toronto. Rumble in the Bronx is shot in like Vancouver, I think. So we're doing a lot of Canadian productions. Just want to
It was
point
big
that
in the
out.
'90s to shoot in Canada,
Sure.
but
Anyway.
Cronenberg says in the commentary that like it was a big deal that the movie actually took place in Toronto and wasn't just like a faux New York.
Sure. The Torontoans appreciated that.
Yeah, the state government were like, oh, in that case,
They finally got like, some representation on film. Real Torontoans.
real Toronto erotic,
Yeah.
violent cinema.
The most erotic city in the world, Toronto.
But it could be any city in the world. I mean,
Sure.
any,
I thought it was
in
LA,
America.
to be honest, but I wasn't, just cause I assumed because of the cars and because it was
You thought it was
filming.
in LA because the sun was never out the entire time. It's overcast the entire movie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why.
I mean, I was thinking about the way I watch all these movies shot in downtown LA, and it's like the same 4 blocks.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, I was like really paying attention if like how often they repeat locations, and they do it all the time. But I don't.
But it's
I don't
just
really
like
know.
pavement and like cars, So it's like supposed to be like
It's just like buildings and roads, man. Just
I mean,
like
yeah, I guess there's actual locations that they
streets
repeat,
and
but
corners.
I think the idea is that it's like a asphalt sort of like a sprawl sort of thing.
Yeah, I know
where
what they're doing.
Okay,
They're making it look like any city in the
mind.
world.
sure.
And
But-
David Cronenberg telling the people of Toronto, like, no, this is a Toronto movie.
But it's also like I feel
He's
like
obviously getting money from the government. Like, he knows how to play the game.
But the
all right?
world
He
is
understands.
the world that he shows is just
Yeah, it's very
highway
generic.
and car. No, not that it's generic. It's that it's just highways and cars, basically. Or like the background of the frame is like full of cars all the time. You think that's on purpose?
I know. Yes, it is on purpose. What I'm
a lot of
saying
cars.
is, when I was watching them, I was thinking of it as like a production thing. Like,
Sure.
they obviously have to go around
Yeah, I mean it works both ways.
and
which
shoot
is
in the
good.
same areas over and over again because it's easy.
Yeah.
So they start fucking. Holly Hunter starts. She already knows Vaughn, She already knew him
Yes.
before.
She's like recently in that world, right? She's a little bit
She
of a
already knew
noob.
him. So
Yeah.
he reached out to her very quickly, and then, you know, he can spot James Spader as being into this kind of thing. And Vaughn is like the Tyler Durden of the fetish. He's played by Elias Koteas, who's, I just think of him from this movie and Exotica as like the king of Canadian erotic thrillers.
Okay.
But he's most famously known as Casey Jones in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Of course. I noticed that right away.
Yeah, he was completely overqualified for that role, and I hope he got paid a
Yeah.
lot of money because him and Sam Rockwell are like the only two good
Sure.
actors.
Sure.
And I guess Corey Feldman
Oh
is
yeah,
pretty
that's cool.
good.
I forgot. I always forgot about that. Yeah,
Is
Elias
it?
Koteas is great in this movie. I mean, yeah, he's obviously like a De Niro sort of guy, right? You would say.
Yeah, he's like a sleazy Italian, and
Yeah, a lot.
he's like really into the car crashes. He's like obsessed with them. They perform a staging of the death of like James Dean, where they have the little bastard car, like a replica.
Yeah, like Elias Koteas is giving like it's like a show, and it's like really good. That'd be a fucking amazing show to see. Like he's like kind of intros it and like tells the story of it and stuff. And it's quite gripping, I thought.
And they perform a real car crash with no safety measures,
He said no
and
seatbelts.
no seatbelts because they weren't wearing seatbelts. So it's like they're kind of like junkies in a way,
Yeah, yeah,
you know. Or
totally.
I mean,
It's like an addiction movie,
well, it's not an
kind
addiction
of
movie. I mean,
sexual
yes.
addiction. That's what they
What
should
it
have called
really
this
is,
movie.
it's a lot like Point Break and Fight Club.
Oh,
And
oh yeah, Point Break, getting like lured into like an underworld.
Yeah, by a charismatic leader.
Yeah,
But the cool thing about this movie is he has no problems losing himself. There's no thing at the end like, hey, we
Yeah.
gotta set this right.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah, totally.
Vaughn's too crazy. Like they're always down to go further and further and deeper and deeper.
Yeah, and that's what people want to see. That puts asses in the seats.
Honestly, that's probably what makes people hate the movie more than anything else.
Yeah, I guess
Because
people have a tendency to want them characters to like be like them.
That's what Ted Turner didn't like, most likely. He just didn't like
Yeah.
the absolute nihilism of the movie. But
The absolute
that's the thing that makes
hardness
it
of
cool.
his dick when he was watching it.
Well, he couldn't get it hard.
Right, right. He's squeezing it, trying to just
Without
struggling.
that Christian redemption at the end, he just was like
Yeah,
not having it.
that's when he
He couldn't-
usually splooges.
When he watches It's a Wonderful Life, he splooges at the end.
Yeah.
During the happy ending.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I mean,
there's like
people
this-
are, isn't it, it's so. Actually, honestly, another reason why the only thing is are you? Do you think this movie is sexy, William?
I used to masturbate to this movie when I was a teenager,
Okay.
just because I like nudity and I didn't have any other pornography.
Did this?
So
do you have a car crash kink because of it?
no, I have a naked actress kink,
Oh yeah, Mr. Skin.
but
Oh wait, we got to do one. Fucking wait. Hold
don't
on.
let it happen organically. Just force it.
But I want you said that we
It's
should
funny
like,
you
test
can't even
and
just
shit.
name an actress. You just like first actress pops in your
Talia
head. name it.
Shire.
Talia Shire. Was she naked in Simon?
I'm trying to think of good
Bensonhurst?
ones. That's
That's a tough one. I don't know if she
I
ever,
got you
I don't
already,
know-
dude.
I don't know if she ever got naked.
the only saving grace is like when you don't know. That also, I feel like means that she's probably not. But that's with like that's the proof, and then otherwise you've got to take this out.
I didn't hear any of that. Sorry.
That's fine.
A video was playing. Yeah, no nudity.
Well, that's your I mean, when you don't know,
I
it
just looked it
usually
up on
means
Mr. Skin. No nudity.
Damn,
So I was correct.
you using Mr. Skin is like some sort of inception, sort of dream within a dream.
Well, that's how I verify.
Sure.
Oh,
You still
Talia
you still
Shire.
respect
I was
the
thinking.
authority
I
of
wasn't
Mr.
thinking of
Skin.
Talia Shire. I was thinking of Talissa Soto.
Mr. Skin is very respected. People don't like second guess what Mr. Skin tells them.
So the closest thing that Talia Shire ever did to a nude scene is probably in Windows
Where's
when
she standing in a window?
when she's like raped at knife point.
Oh.
It's the only movie Gordon Willis ever directed,
Oh yeah. I've heard of that.
and
That's
it's
cool.
like this utterly insane Hitchcock De Palma kind of thriller.
That sounds great. I want to watch that.
It's like brilliantly shot. It looks amazing. But it's just kind of like, it's so dark. It's like absurd. And also,
Oh, that's funny.
it's just kind of,
Prince of Darkness.
his tone is just, he doesn't really have any control of tone. So some of the acting's pretty bad. Some of the pacing is bad. And it's like super pretentious. But it's
Sure.
like a cool early 80s movie.
Yeah.
But let's see. Hold on.
we
Let's see
should
if I thought you were talking about Talissa Soto.
Oh,
So let me see if I'm correct with her nude scene.
I see.
Brief nudity.
Brief. I
Don
never really
Juan
understood what that
DeMarco.
means. Don Juan DeMarco. Wow.
That means like butt.
Oh, okay. Brief means
Oh,
butt.
she shows her boobs in Don Juan DeMarco. Nice, dude.
Sounds like I gotta watch Don Juan DeMarco. I can't wait to see boobs. I gotta watch an entire movie just to see boobs once for like 2 seconds. I'll watch a 2-hour movie for that. Yeah.
It's Spica Bensonhurst, not Simon.
Thank you for issuing that
Yeah,
correction.
well, I gotta be on top of things.
Sure,
You know,
sure,
this
sure.
this podcast is forever. If you sound like a complete idiot on this podcast, no one will ever forget it, and it'll be on record.
Fuck, that's a lot of pressure. So yeah, he sees this crazy, cool, amazing car show. Probably the best show that any of us could ever see. It's like he's at medieval times, but like the best version of that. And he's not eating, unfortunately. But yeah, he's just eating a turkey leg, watching this car crash show. That'd be cool. That'd be a fun detail if he was just holding a turkey leg and eating it the whole time.
Do they serve snacks at the car crash shows?
Yeah.
Come on, Vaughn. I mean, you want to
Yeah.
you got to pay because they're
an extra
buying
revenue
a lot
stream.
of they're buying a lot of cars. They're crashing them. It's got to be expensive.
Of course.
Where
And
do they
they're
get
like
their money
souping
from?
up cars and shit. Like yeah, they fucking James Dean car. That's gotta be. And they just wrecked it without selling any turkey legs. I don't understand how the economics of that work.
What's funny is we went to medieval times for your birthday,
Oh yeah,
and they didn't even give us turkey legs. They gave us like boiled chicken garbage shit,
like a
and they called it
Cornish
a
game
baby,
hen? Is that what it was?
like a baby dragon.
Oh, that's weird. I forgot about that. I don't want to eat a baby dragon. It's like eating a lizard. No, thank you.
Did you ever see the Super Mario Brother movie?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of lizard eating in that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good
Of course, I have seen that movie. I haven't seen fucking Amarcord, but I've seen the Super Mario Brother movie.
Yeah, well, Amarcord does have a cool scene where like 4 12-year-old boys jerk off in a car together, but
Fuck,
it's kind of long.
I gotta see Amarcord.
It's a lot of nostalgia. I kind of prefer the Super Mario Brother movie.
I hear you. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's fun, and they really captured the game too.
Those directors who made that, they created Max Headroom.
Okay.
So they just made
Interesting.
everything in
Body
that
of work.
movie look like Max Headroom.
Oh yeah, I mean Dennis Hopper really.
They're
does
just like,
look
we don't know what to do. Let's just make it look like Max Headroom,
Yeah.
which I believe is like a Pepsi or Coke commercial,
Yeah, I think
he
it's
was
Pepsi.
or is it Coke too?
Oh, like
And then
the
it
new
just
Coke.
it was such a popular commercial. They made a show.
Damn, that's some earnest shit. In any
So
case.
then once after this like car accident show,
Yeah.
James Spader is just like all in
Yeah.
with these car accident people. He's hanging out with Elias Koteas, Rosanna Arquette, Holly Hunter. There's this one guy
the driver.
who dies pretty quickly after. He's the driver.
And he's like the extreme fetishist of the subculture. He's the guy who like hangs from the ceiling by his nipple piercings. The next one is Jane Mansfield that they want to do, and because they replicate famous car crashes.
But they do it for real, and they
Yeah,
he actually gets in an accident on the freeway and dies, and he's dressed like James Mansfield.
yeah. With
And
huge
Vaughn
boobs.
doesn't know this. He didn't tell Vaughn, and Vaughn and James Spader are like, driving through the accident, and
Yeah, Elias Koteas is pissed.
he's taking photos, and then he's just like, "Oh my god, the dog, the dog is brilliant." And there's like a dead little dog in the car.
Yeah,
All the
that's
details of
sad.
the accident.
Little Chihuahua.
That scene's awesome.
Yeah,
That's a great scene, and
and they sit.
that
They're like sitting by the, like the girlfriend sits. Like he brings his girlfriend along to that. James Spader
yeah,
does,
there's
or his wife. And so he's like bringing her, kind of showing her that world or whatever, and then they're like sitting by the car crash victims, like as they're kind of like stunned and bleeding. A little voyeurism in this kink fest. William's favorite movie, Kink Fest.
Kinkfest 2020. There's probably really a Kinkfest out there.
Of course, I
There's
mean
a
that name is. If you're gonna have a kink fest, the first thing you're
there's
gonna
a
want to
Fist
call it is kink
Fest
fest.
in San Francisco,
What's that
and
about? What happens there? People bump fists.
they talked about it on the Howard Stern show, and
Yeah.
the guy, the interviewer, like the stuttering John type guy who was going there and asking people questions, he said it smelled so much like poppers that he was just lightheaded being in the room.
Jesus.
So you know what poppers are, right?
Yeah, it's like the drug you take and it like relaxes your butthole.
Yeah. Do you know what the drug is also used for and sold as?
What?
VCR cleaner.
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
So at a lot of gay, not just gay, but a lot of like sex shops would sell VCR cleaner,
Nice.
and it's just
Damn,
poppers,
that's damn.
muscle
That's wow.
relaxants.
Well, they really figured out how to do their thing.
Well, it's just a common thing you do to sell drugs under the table, and then
No,
you
I
have
mean
to say
using the
like,
poppers to relax for Fist Fest. They figured out how to put on Fist Fest. It's like a well-run event. It's not
I
like
just wish
Fire
it-
Fest.
it's true.
You know,
If-
it goes off without a hitch every year.
You should definitely go to Fist Fest this year. if you're on the fence, I would recommend
yeah,
it.
yeah. You're gonna have a
Just
you're gonna have a good time.
wear a mask, social distance, but
course.
if you're interested,
Yeah,
you will be taken care of.
yeah.
There will be no documentaries made about it.
Right. Yeah, you can be rest assured of that. You won't see Ja Rule anywhere, or maybe you will. Getting fisted. But yes, so they go to the car crash. They find the guy, the stunt car driver. He's dead. He rode the lightning. And then, well, the wife is gone, or like James Spader and the wife fuck, and they're getting more kinky and shit. Or maybe the wife is actually, she's like saying like, did you like? She's talking about like a guy or like him getting fucked by a guy or something like that. Like they're dirty talking.
No, that's before this.
Oh, okay.
But they're starting to set up the fact that they're both attracted to Vaughn. You
Well,
know,
he's a powerful, commanding presence.
well, they're like swingers, so they're just like,
Oh, sure.
that's how they get off. I get every person they meet, they just talk about in bed. They're just like, did you see
Right.
the mailman today?
Yeah.
Describe what his anus looks like.
Yeah.
And James Spader's just like fucking the shit out of her. He's just like, oh my God, the mailman.
These people are just horny all the time. They're so horny. Why are these people so horny? When do they stop? You know?
When they die, they're in it to win it, None of them have kids.
But don't you like, when you bust, don't you like take a break? Not these people.
Let's take a break. I busted.
Yeah.
I busted. Break time. I got orange slices.
Yeah, that's when you have a little
Let's have a high.
snack.
Hey, you guys want a high C?
Yeah.
Elias Koteas, she's passing around snacks. Let's take a break and just let's just do a stretch.
You need to get their electrolytes.
Roseanne Arquette is dragging her leg through in a brace.
Yeah. They just pop
Oh,
on the
hi-
TV.
High C.
Yeah.
Or not high C. What's the drink with the pouches? Capri Sun. She's just like, oh, Capri Sun,
yeah.
orange slices.
Ooh, yeah. That would be great after busting.
Maybe like a fruit roll up.
These are like the best things to eat after busting, it sounds like. These fruit snacks.
All right, break time's over. Let's get back to fucking and car crashes.
Yeah, so anyway, they're horny again and they fuck. And then James Spader's, he's not like going to work anymore or anything like that, or we don't see it. But he's like,
We see him go to work.
okay, it's okay, we do see it.
This
But
isn't having any negative effect on his life or his relationships.
yeah, but he's yeah, totally.
I mean, his wife just wants to get into it more and more.
Yeah, it's like they're bringing them together.
But he's basically fuck. What happens is he starts fucking like everybody. So he has sex with like Rosanna Arquette. He stops having sex with Holly Hunter. It's no longer satisfying
Yeah.
because ultimately he's like more attracted to Vaughn. When he has sex with Holly Hunter, she has this giant gash and scar in the back
No,
of her
Rosanna
leg.
Arquette.
Yes, Rosanna Arquette, and he eats it out like that Asian girl's ass, which is
Yeah. Well, it looks like a
great
pussy
scene. It looks like a pussy, but
on purpose, I think.
he
Something tells me
knows
it's on purpose.
he likes to eat things out. So he gets all in there. He just fucks the shit out of it. Comes. It's one of the best scenes in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure Ted Turner probably almost got hard watching it, but
Yeah.
you know, he's like a sallow guy. He probably needs more.
Yeah, it's just not. It's too tame.
He's like, this is what my kids do.
Yeah.
They fuck each other's. They make new holes in each other. I'm a tycoon.
Yeah.
You know, I made the Atlanta Braves walk around all nude wearing dog collars, and I led them around on leashes.
Yeah. He could have done that too, I bet.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he did. He's a tycoon. He's rich.
He fucks Monk.
He fucked Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah, but he made it Tony Shalhoub dress up as Monk and be in the Monk character. And he fucked him. That's how powerful he is.
He's like, I
He's a
don't know
powerful
if there's
guy.
gonna be a season 3.
Yeah.
Zip.
Yeah. And it went on
Oh
for many
boy,
seasons.
I guess I better.
Let's just leave it at that.
Oh boy, there's definitely some germs on that. Oh Jesus Christ! I haven't seen Monk, but I imagine he just talks like the lawyer from The Man Who Wasn't There. He's just like, we're in a real tough situation here.
No,
I can work.
actually, Monk is really gives a really good performance, and it's not like that.
Oh, that's okay.
Sorry,
What's not?
I didn't know what you were referencing, so I guess
I know.
it's fine.
You just
So
are like,
he's
you're-
getting bored.
Well, he keeps like flirting more and more with Vaughn. Like at first they get a hooker.
Yeah, they do that. He drives
And
while Vaughn fucks
Vaughn
the hooker.
fucks a hooker, so that's like them kind of starting
their
their
toes.
flirtation. Yeah, and then they fuck. James Spader brings in his wife, and Elias Cote is just like rough, has very rough, violent sex with her in the back of his car, and like during the world's longest automatic car wash.
Yeah. Thank God it was
go-
that long. Otherwise, they'd be like, "Oh God!" and like scrambling to pull their pants on and put their nipples
There's-
away and stuff.
There's this automatic car wash that's a Shell by Alvarado in Echo Park that I like to go to, and it's like 2 minutes long.
Yeah.
You know, it would be, and it's not.
Do you get your nipples sucked while you go through it?
I can't imagine just like driving slowly through it. Like, oh yeah, I'm about to have this is gonna be a very racy car wash.
Another car wash sex scene is in Tangerine. That's
A great one.
That's
He
a
goes
good one,
down on a beautiful woman.
Yeah.
That's a long car wash,
That is.
and that's a real one.
Yeah, totally.
I would like to go. I was watching that movie. I was like, this looks like a great car wash. I gotta find where this is. This
That
is
should be
somewhere
on like
in
the
East-
maps you got at Hollywood and Highland of like movie locations.
Yeah, where's this car wash from? It's in East Hollywood somewhere. I'm looking for it.
Yeah.
Could be in the Valley.
You spend like your entire vacation to Hollywood just looking for this car wash.
Just because I want to wash my car. I'm just like,
Yeah.
it just looked like a great car wash.
Yeah, sure.
I'm like, I'm picking up trans hookers. I'm like, hey, do you know like a good car wash?
You got to see this car wash. It's great.
Yeah, I'm gonna go down on you, but
Yeah, of
I'm
course.
just wondering if you know about any car washes. Is that what? Do you have any Johns to take you to car wash?
Yeah. So Vaughn fucks the prostitute. Yeah, they're getting things are
Fucks
happening.
his wife, dude. He fucks his wife, and then she's just covered with scars. And then James Spader is like kissing her scars, and I think this
yeah.
is the scene where it's really an interesting scene because she's starting to tear up, and she's essentially sexually assaulted.
By Vaughn.
But they don't stop the relationship with Vaughn. You know, it actually, I think James Spader's all into it. her feelings in that scene are very interesting because you don't know how she feels. She doesn't say anything. I mean, but based on their behavior that they keep going through with this activity,
Oh, you think she's an unwilling participant at this point?
I think she is a willing participant, or I think I feel like there's some conflict within her. It's really interesting. I think you could read that scene so many different ways, and that's one of the things that makes the movie dangerous and fun
Yeah.
and cool.
Yeah, the movie's like challenging the audience too, being like, "Do you like this? Is this you?"
Hey everybody, stop the movie. I just have a question. Do you like the movie?
Are you having Are you having a good time?
It's just like director's face on the camera, like really blurry. Hey everybody, do you like it?
Raise your
She
hand if
just
you're
got.
having a good time.
Did everybody like the rape scene? And the woman crying and bruised afterwards?
Yeah. So wait, hold on. Why does she have scars? Did I miss that? Why does his wife have
Because
scars?
he's violently grabbing her and fucking her and like assaulting her in the back of the car wash.
Oh, she has scars later, you're saying?
That's directly the scene after that.
Oh, I see. Sorry.
Look, it's a confusing movie. I mean, the thing
It
is,
is. It's very subtle.
it's like a dream state. You don't know
Yeah.
where you're going, or they don't have any goals. You know,
Yeah.
there's nothing like
They are kind of like he's like wandering through
he's
this
just
world.
wandering through it,
Yeah.
and they're all being pulled by someone else. So Vaughn definitely has goals. Vaughn has things he wants to accomplish, and eventually, Vaughn reaches out to James Spader and he's like, "I'm getting tattoos. You got to check this out." So he's getting like all these car tattoos on the scars of his body.
Yeah.
And the big thing,
Fucking
like they say in the
badass.
movie, yeah, he's pretty fucking cool, dude.
Get tattoos on scars.
I'm
That's what
getting
Dolly
some
Parton did.
Yeah, I'm getting some tattoos, dude, on my scars.
Getting cars. You have a
He
Ferrari here.
Yeah, this is a Batmobile.
Yeah.
This is a car from Tokyo Drift.
Yeah.
So my ass. So when you fuck me in my ass, you're actually fucking the car from Tokyo Drift. That's like the end of the movie. He's like, I got this really cool Civic, souped up Subaru and Civic, and they're like on my ass cheeks. So you got to squeeze them together, and then you just like fuck my ass.
Yeah.
James Spader's just like eyes are rolling in the back of his head, just convulsing. The music is like playing that haunting like guitar music.
Oh yeah, the score. Totally. Good score.
And Elias Cote is just like cross-eyed.
Yeah, like the guy from Sallow.
The cover of Midnight Club is just on Elias Cote's butt cheeks.
There's a lot of nipple stuff in this. What's your interpretation of that?
Well, I feel like the 90s was a very breast-heavy time.
It was a nipple heavy
There's
decade.
like, it's not, when you think of the 90s, you don't think of like great asses.
Yeah, for sure. Like no asses were not even like thought about. It was just about having as huge a fake.
Yeah. You just need a
giant tits
big
as you
beach
could.
ball, giant boobs.
Yeah.
Like Jenny McCarthy. That's like, or Pam Anderson.
Of course,
The
Pam
blonde,
Anderson.
the Baywatch babes.
Yeah. Although there was an actress on that show that had like a butt, her thing. I think she was hired because she had a huge ass. In the like the second season. I've watched some Baywatch.
Well, who was that?
Nicole Eggert. I feel like her thing was she had normal boobs, but she had a big ass.
Really?
Yeah, they were like, wait a minute, we're missing some representation in this on our team of lifeguards. So Nicole Eggert.
I just got to Google
represent
something
all
real
that.
quick.
People with huge
I'm familiar
asses.
with her work in the.
I hear you typing.
She's in this like Roger Corman movie I liked in the
nice.
90s.
The
Oh yeah, she is she is pretty ass heavy, but she does have big boobs also.
The Fall of the House of Asser. Is that the Roger Corman movie she was in?
Yeah. Whenever I talk about Roger
Pooper.
Corman movies, you think I'm talking about movies he directed.
Oh,
When
sure.
those those are like the worst movies he's in or he made.
Okay, fair enough.
No, he's in this one where it's
The
kind of
ass
like
and the
Black
pendulum.
Scorpion.
Yeah, that's a badass
No, these
title.
are I'm talking 90s. Oh yeah, she's in the Demolitionist. That one's cool. Double O Kid is pretty awesome. Blown Away. I mean, she's in a bunch of these.
Damn, I didn't know she had that sort of
Yeah,
cool
Demolitionist is the
movie
one.
career.
Robert Kurtzman. That's like a Sam Raimi kind of guy.
Damn, I gotta see some more Nicole Eggert movies. Her
Yeah,
filmography.
man. Double O Kid is fucking nuts. That's a Corey Haim movie
Okay,
that I used to watch a lot as a kid, and
of course.
it's like they would run it on cable all the time, and
Well, this is an awesome poster.
the whole thing and the whole style is completely bizarre. Yeah, Brigitte Nelson's in it, Wallace Shawn's in it,
Oh, this looks awesome.
the dwarf from Lord of the Rings,
Oh, Gimli or whatever. That
Salah
guy. Yeah, that's a
from
stacked
Indiana
cast.
Jones.
Karen Black, Seth Green, and Nicole
Yeah, this
Eggert.
just like an arcade scene that's like completely nuts.
I love Nuts Arcade scene. Is it take place on like a chessboard or something like that? I'm looking at the poster and it's like an insane.
Well, the bad guy's like a games master, I think. So obviously, only a teenager can.
Take
A
him down.
teenage spy is the only one who can solve the mystery.
Yes, of course.
The
It's kind of like
double
Big
OK.
Fat Liar, that Frankie Muniz movie,
Oh,
or
yeah,
and Cody
it's-
Banks, Agent Cody Banks. Sorry.
And watching
guys.
this trailer now, it's like all the sets are just like warehouse locations in downtown LA or
Nice.
Prism Pictures. Wow, this is real garbage.
I wish there was more companies like Prism Pictures these days, just cranking out crazy shit.
Yeah, the straight to video '90s was a cool time.
Yeah.
They can't even like make movies at this budget anymore. They're like so much cheaper. They're like so much less expensive.
I mean, that's the thing I liked about Crash was that it felt like it's just like it feels like a sleazy low budget video movie, but it's like an art house version of it, or like a softcore, just like a Skinamax movie that you would see, but like done as good as possible, and like
Yeah,
like,
and
fucked up
also
elements.
I think they're coming off of Showgirls in '95, which is NC-17, and it just became impossible to release those movies in the '90s. They just couldn't make any money, and the NC-17 rating, you didn't really see much after Crash. Like Requiem for a
Crash
Dream,
was NC-17. That's cool.
yeah, Crash. Like Requiem for a Dream went out unrated, and then I feel like after Requiem for a Dream, the thing was they would just release the movies unrated. Happiness is unrated.
I see. Dude, that's kind of a time, yeah, like a specific time of like the NC-17 movie. That was like a 90s
Well-
phenomenon, kind of. Like that Bruce
Yeah.
Willis one.
Color Night.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
haven't seen
The thing is it all became irrelevant after The Sopranos, and like the TV MA rating is so much worse than any R-rated movie. Like you can get away with things with TVMA because it's self-regulated.
Yeah,
And
like you could see
the
dick
art-
and stuff.
You could see like erect penises a lot on HBO now. Like Euphoria
Yeah.
has like erect penises, and I mean they've been doing that
Oh,
for a
dear.
long time. And Crash, like you don't even see anyone's penis in the whole movie.
Yeah, what the fuck? Such a rip
You
off,
know.
dude. You want to see some pee?
And now that's like old hat.
Of course, yeah. People are like, who cares?
Ever since Forgetting Sarah Marshall, you're just seeing penises all the time in movies.
Yeah.
What's your favorite movie penis?
That's a good question. I was thinking about in To Live and Die in L.A., you see
Oh yeah.
his dick, and it's kind of funny. That's
See
a good
William
movie
Peterson's penis.
Yeah.
And the
William?
commentary track, Freakin's like, I let him block his own sex scenes.
Oh, yeah.
So that's why you see William Peterson's penis, because he's showing it off to the camera on purpose.
William Peterson's a freak, man. He should be in like the Crash world.
He would be good in a Cronenberg
kinky.
movie. He's a Steppenwolf guy, I think.
Oh, okay.
So
That's a good idea, by the way, for a director to do. To be like to the actors, like, hey, you do this. I don't want to tell you how to. I want to tell you how to fuck. You know what I'm saying?
He's like, no problem. And he just starts jerking off on
Yeah.
the girl's feet really hard.
Yeah.
And just slapping his dick. He's just like, come on,
Yeah.
come on.
He just puts his dick stays completely soft, and he puts like his nuts in a vice.
Yeah, he has he has one of those inflatable things. He just like inflates his balls,
Yeah. Yeah.
starts hitting the poppers, and just
Yeah. And William Friedkin's
opens
like,
his.
that's not what I was.
William Friedkin's like, this is gold, baby. This is gold.
Yeah, it's just it's just a normal like cop sort of thing. Like he inserts the thing and then inflates it, and that's how he comes. Like all cops.
He's like, Popeye Doyle, the real Popeye Doyle, told me they used to do this back in the 60s during the French Connection time.
Yeah.
Hey, I wish I had one of those on set with Linda Blair on The Exorcist.
Hey man.
Max von Sydow could not get a rod. Ellen Burstyn has no ass.
Yeah. Crash is pretty hot stuff. And then you remember what David Cronenberg looks like, and you're like, what the fuck? Oh.
Yeah, I remember when we saw
Like,
Good
it's
Times,
gross.
when that came out, you were like, so the doctor at the beginning of Good Time is David Cronenberg.
I thought it was. I don't know why I felt so sure about that without
And it was like,
Googling.
and it's just this like complete
I can't believe you
non-actor
remember that. Everything
Well, it
I've
was
said
just- it was
is being held against, is like kept by a record of it
Infuriating.
and then held against me later.
Look, I'm a David Cronenberg like super fan.
That guy looked like David Cronenberg. Okay, am I wrong? Simple. It's a pretty
No.
easy mistake. Thought it was clever casting to cast like a creep, old creepy
Listen,
guy. As the
you fool, you utter fool.
oh boy,
David Cronenberg has acted in many movies. He's in Jason X,
hell yeah, that sounds cool.
Nightbreed.
Nice.
He plays Button Face.
He plays, like weird pervy guys, right? I'm just guessing.
Not in Jason X.
Okay. But that's his type. And let's face it.
He's a
Maybe
pervert.
he is. Yeah.
He's definitely a pervert.
He's got this weird. Anybody ever asked him like, "Hey, what's the deal? Why are you always like having people like rub machines and put their nipples on car hoods and stuff?"
I don't think anyone's ever asked him that.
What's the deal, dude?
This theme of his is not normally talked about.
Yeah, I don't feel like maybe I'm the first to notice. So yeah, so you used to beat off to this movie, and now, well, you can't get hard anymore. But
Yeah.
so now
this
you
movie-
watch it.
Now I look at it like nostalgia, like, oh yeah, this used to get me off when I was 16.
Yeah, and just a clear fluid just dribbles out of your flaccid penis when you watch it.
It's a tear.
Yeah,
It's shedding a tear.
It's like the Native American guy from the '60s in the poster, like the one tear comes out for what used to be. Oh, I know where we left off. We left off at the tattoos or whatever, and Vaughn Elias Cotas is getting cool cars tattooed on his body, like race cars and
Yeah.
like a Yamaha
We're talking about Midnight
motorcycle.
Club. If you had the Midnight Club tattoo on your ass,
Yeah. And then James Spader is like, oh, he's like, I want you to get this tattoo to James Spader. And it's like the symbol that was burned in the guy's hand. Right?
exactly.
Yes.
And then the next thing we
I
see,
got it. I remember.
the two of them are in a convertible making out
Yeah.
underneath a overpass.
That's when I was like,
And
this
this-
movie's fucked up.
That's when I was like, this movie delivers. And this is a very important and great scene in the movie and just in the history of film, because when these two guys start going at it, kissing, and then eventually Elias Koteas turns around, bends over, and lets James Spader fuck him in the ass. This is such a great scene because this doesn't happen in The Master. This doesn't happen in Fight Club. This doesn't happen in Point Break.
Yeah.
You know, all these other movies, they're just skirting around it. They're just flirting with the idea.
Yeah. It's always subtext.
Yeah, and they never give the audience what they want. And in
Yeah.
this movie, yeah, They fuck. And
Totally.
then the fucking isn't even like the climax to the relationship in the scene, because the next thing that happens is
Oh, sure.
after they fuck, James Spader gets in this old wrecked car, and then Elias Koteas is just like driven. He's like horny. He's like so hyped up. He just rams his giant beast of a car directly into James Spader.
Yeah, but
And
they don't. But James Spader, like he flinches. He like jumps. He jumps to the other seat, I think, and like so Ilias Koteas is like, oh, he's not ready, or he's not.
that's
He's
not
not real.
what happened. That's not what's happening at all.
Are you
So
Are you sure?
James Spader is completely taken by surprise by it.
Okay.
But Elias Koteas is just like, he's like getting hornier and hornier, and he does it like 3 times. And then he's not like, oh, he isn't ready. He just like, he just drives away, because that's like part of the flirt, the hunt, that's
Oh,
part of the
yeah.
relationship. And
Relationship.
then the next day, James Spader's wife is like, someone hit my car. And then James Spader walks up to it and puts his hand on it. Like, fucking Doogie Howser puts his hand on the brain bug at the end of Starship Troopers, and he's like,
Oh yeah.
it's Vaughn.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, no shit, it's Vaughn. We just saw the last scene. So then,
He's the only car crash fetishist that you know. It's probably that guy.
and then the next scene, James Spader's driving with his wife, and then Vaughn, they're on the freeway. It's nighttime. Vaughn is like chasing them. He's cutting around traffic. He's hitting them and then speeding up and slowing down, taunting them. And this scene is awesome
Yeah.
because my biggest pet peeve with driving scenes in movies is when they just have a giant light in the car.
Yeah.
And they do a really good job in the scene of keeping it dark but putting in a little light.
Well, this is yeah. I thought I was actually noted the light as well, because it's like the cars are there's very dark. You just see the actors, but also for the cars and stuff, all you see are the headlights. It's like the cars are. Well, it's like a big, and it's like the
And the wide.
climactic scene and shit. So like you're, yeah,
Well,
you're,
it's not the climactic scene in a lot of ways. It kind of you think it should be, right? Like,
yeah,
but one of the funniest things about the scene is they're driving, they're going back and forth, they're hitting each other, they're getting rammed. Are they scared of him? You can't really tell because they're so like cool and passive.
yeah.
But they don't want to die. They're trying to stay alive. And then Elias Koteas just goes, "Wah!" And then he just drives off, and you just hear a sound off camera.
Yeah.
And what would have been an awesome car wreck to film, you completely don't see.
Yeah.
And this is like the big failure of David Cronenberg, is that he doesn't know how, or he doesn't even want to direct set pieces. He doesn't even want to direct big, violent, cinematic moments. He cares strictly about the interpersonal relationships of the characters. If you think about all the action scenes in his movies, and I guess the one action scene that he is universally praised for is in Eastern Promises. It's the nude fight scene.
Sure.
But even that is, I mean, it's not like a De Palma scene. It's not like a suspenseful scene.
Yeah.
And you could even argue that's like an homage to the naked wrestling scene in Women in Love. Like that was done 50 years before.
All right.
It's the first penis in British film.
Whoa. I gotta see Women in Love.
Ken Russell. It's his like it's like
Oh,
the
sure.
first movie Ken Russell made that he got like universally praised, and people were like, "This guy's gonna be a great filmmaker. He's gonna challenge the world." And then he just made like completely psychotic movies for the next 15 years, and people were like, he just became less and less relevant, even though his movies were awesome.
Okay.
But I digress. So, like, History of Violence has some cool shootouts. But Cronenberg doesn't really do the cat and mouse thing. He doesn't do the De Palma thing, like the Carrie thing of just like ratcheting up tension
Yeah.
and just having this awesome payoff and this awesome moment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, it feels like the crash happens kind of randomly or like out of
I,
nowhere. Maybe that's like a thing about,
it's like a budget thing or a scheduling thing. It
or
feels,
I mean, that's also like the thrill of it is like you never know when it's coming, I guess.
it just seems like it should have been a bigger moment. And I get it would have been really hard because he's on a freeway and he passes down off the freeway and lands on a bus,
Yeah.
which that looks cool, but it's like a tableau. It's like a sculpture. It's like it's set dressing. You know, you don't see the car go into the bus.
Yeah.
But there's another element to all this, which I think is intentional, and that is I don't think Cronenberg wants this to be the climax of the movie.
Okay.
I don't think he's trying to make it the big moment because it isn't the big moment. It isn't the big scene because
Okay.
the next scene is the big scene,
Sure.
which is James Spader, after surviving that car chase with Vaughn, he is now driving Vaughn's car and he picks it up from a car lot. And the voice of the guy at the car lot is Cronenberg. Little trivia for you.
Oh, okay. That's fun.
He's off screen. And so James Spader is now in Vaughn's car and he's driving, weaving through traffic, going into oncoming traffic and back in his lane, and he's chasing his wife.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to practice the kink now without their leader,
Well, they're not practicing.
or they're participating. They're kinking it up.
It's not just that they're participating; it's that they're. If you felt in the last scene that they were threatened by Vaughn, it's interesting that in this scene, he is actively doing what Vaughn was doing to them.
Yeah. And she is into it too, though.
Yes, and they went together to get the car. No, she is into it. They went together to get the car from the impound lot. They are doing this on purpose, and that's why it's like,
of course, yeah.
it's interesting that they're not. This is where I'm saying like they're not victims. They're just continuing the behavior. It's like just like Vaughn saw his friend die in a car crash. Vaughn has now died in a car crash.
It's a vicious cycle. The car crash fetish.
Yeah, I mean, they're just going to go and go until they die.
Yeah.
So at the end, James Spader, this is a very weak scene in some regards. Like it's whenever it starts to work, you notice that there's a guy with like platinum highlights, so like really hot blonde hair, who's driving and not James Spader.
Oh, really?
And it just is like terrible stunt guy driving. And like the guy, and someone's driving Deborah Kara Unger's car, and it's just a horrible wig.
Nice.
But
That could be part of the fetish, having horrible wigs.
it's, you know, ever since Spaceballs,
Yeah.
it's all like, I always look out for stuntmen, and there are some horrible stuntmen out there, especially in this time period. Like,
Yeah.
the absolute worst stuntman in any movie is Bruce Willis as stuntman in Die Hard.
Okay.
Just fucking terrible. I mean, like, you see his face, you know, like you see full blown
You're right.
stuntmen looking into the camera. They just couldn't imagine like, people will VHS, like on video will watch it twice or in freeze frame.
Right,
you know?
of course, yeah. And they're like, it's gonna go by so fast, and then it doesn't. And you just like see his face for like 5 seconds, and he obviously is wearing a wig that's like sitting on top of his hair.
And maybe watching Crash in 4K is a little too much resolution for this scene. It's just too bright.
It's fun to picture this, to picture Crash, but with everybody driving Priuses, you know?
If it was like with the music playing and their hands over the Prius, like
Yeah,
bubbly interior.
yeah. And then just like a really quiet, smooth ride as they get in like decent little car crashes, nothing crazy. Because they stay in eco mode, you know? You don't always gas.
Yeah.
So
It's not very, but his car is pretty lame, actually, that he's driving. He isn't driving like James Spader. His like Vaughn has like very cool cinematic car, convertible.
yeah, totally. James Spader is the square who Eats asses and stuff at the beginning of the movie. Total square. Loser. He's like a soccer mom, basically.
Yeah. He's not driving a minivan, but it's pretty close. He's like driving like a fuddy duddy car. Like a
Yeah.
dot. He's almost driving like a Datsun.
Yeah, yeah. Totally.
But that
Um,
changes at the end because now he's driving Vaughn's car. And he's going after his wife, and he finally hits her, knocks her off the road right in the same spot where he got in his accident. And he pulls over and he's looking, and you don't know if she's alive or dead. And then he walks down the hill, sees her, and she's spread out like a Playboy playmate.
sure.
And she has like, you know, what the fuck are those straps on that women wear on their thighs? Like that,
Oh, of course.
not a corset,
Stock, stocking, like a stocking.
a stocking. She's wearing stockings.
Yeah, silk stockings. It's not a thing.
She's got a Santa Claus hat,
Yeah, she's wearing Christmas. She got her feet in like big baggy Christmas stockings. Um,
garter
yeah.
belt.
Oh,
That's
yeah, Carter Bell. There you go.
So she's like all nude or not nude, but she's her skirt's all hemmed up or hiked up. And then James Spader gets behind her and starts kissing her and like rubbing her
And they
and then
fuck.
ultimately undoes his pants and he just starts fucking her right then and there. And like
You're really painting a picture.
the thing is now that she's finally been in a car accident, that's the one thing that she hasn't been through the entire time. So
So it's full circle. Now she's one of them.
she's fully one of them, and it's like the best sex he'll ever have with her.
Yeah. So when did you first watch this movie? And then the movie is over, by the way. But yeah,
I
so
don't know. I was like 15,
oh, okay.
14, because it took a while to get on video, and
Right.
then on IFC.
But yeah, it's like kind of a perfect little like hero's journey story in this like weird fetish subculture. It's a good script. It's very tight.
It's the pervert's journey.
It's the pervert's journey. Yeah, exactly.
He, like all great erotic films, the pervert has sex with all the characters,
Yeah. Story told through
ki-
sex scenes. Very good.
kills one of them, and then ends up back with his wife.
Yeah. Damn.
And you can't go home again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it does
They're
say
not the
like
same people they were at the beginning of the film. They're different. They're
But-
car crash,
yeah.
sex maniacs.
But the movie is saying like, marriage is forever. Everything else comes and goes.
Everything comes and goes until the husband is ejected out of the front windshield.
Yeah.
And then the wife fucks the guy that she ran into.
So and then they remade this in like 2008 and made it about racism.
Yeah, I refuse to watch that movie. I've never seen it. It's dumb.
I mean it's a funny movie to kind of make fun of and stuff. I can't believe it won Best Picture. That's a crazy thing.
Yeah.
I remember I had
All right. That's the end of the episode. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, okay. All right. Thanks, guys.